Right, so this is the final section looking at resilience. So the first question I had was, what sort of advice would you give to port operators to improve their worker well-being?
As with everything, it's all about communication. It's all about working together, and it's all about understanding what your workforce need. You know, if you have a happy workforce, then they want to come to work, their well-being will be better. You know, it's having those systems there. It's everybody working together in harmony. You know, we you can laugh at the song joke in there if you really want to, but it's very much if you go to work, you feel valued, you feel supported. It's a much happier, healthier place to work, and having the opportunity if you need to say I can't, or I need to do this, or I need to take a back step, and it not being, as we said before, blacklisted, or you can't say I can't do this or I won't do this. It's supporting people to know their limits, and everything else. And actually, health and safety should be one of those things. Doesn't matter what it is. If somebody doesn't feel safe, they should be able to say, I don't feel safe, and take that step back. But well-being is different. Well-being is making sure that they're happy at work, and everything else, and having the support they need. And that could be in a telephone line that they could call. That could be in having nice chairs in your canteen. Um, there's all sorts of things that you could look at, but it's making sure that communication is there, it's open, it's two-way, um, and you don't blame people. Accidents that sadly do happen, but that blame culture needs to move on to what happened, why it happened, and how can we prevent it in the future. And if people don't feel they're going to be blamed, and they feel they're going to be supported to improve by training, or whatever, then they're more likely to stay with you, and you have a happy, healthy workforce.
Thank you. So what sort of practical changes can be implemented within ports to improve inclusion?
As that's a loaded question there, really.
Yeah, it's a very open question.
Um, I mean, I've just recently attended a couple of women in ports events, and what's nice is that change in the culture that is actually bringing women into ports. It's bringing women into roles that are typically male. Um, but that is not the only type of inclusion. Inclusion is everybody and everything, and it's making sure that whatever the job, whatever the role, people, have that clear what is expected of them, and how they can achieve what you want them to do. Um, and inclusion for me means everybody could do that job. It wouldn't matter who it was, if the instructions are clear, but also you've got to give the training to do the job properly. You've got to help everyone, and you don't alternate that training, whether they're depending on who that person is. That training is the same for everybody. It supports them, and then the support systems are there as well, the supervision, the management, um, and everything else. That was, yeah, loaded question.
Yeah,
Definitely get that one wrong.
I suppose no, I suppose it's because it's not a one size fits all approach, is particularly why you can't give one specific answer to it. It's just considering everything, everyone's individual circumstances, which is why, as you had said earlier, communication is so important. How do you, why do you think that inclusion is a safety and cultural issue?
It's not just inclusion, it's everything. It's that. So health and safety legislation is different, and health and safety has something that says you need to have a suitable and sufficient assessment of risk. Suitable and sufficient is wide ranging. It's not black and white. It is what fits your company, what works for you, what works for your cargo, what works for roll on, roll off, what works for bulk. It's all so different, and that legislation is the same. So it's like inclusion there, that it's that one size fits all in the respect of there's a piece of legislation that says it, but what you do to meet that legislation could be very different and very, very differently compared to where you are in the country, what your cargoes are, what the job is, what the time of day is. Um, so it's making sure you have suitable and sufficient risk assessment that looks at the training that's required to do a job. And that training and things shouldn't change because of um, who somebody is. It should change based on the task that you're asking them to carry out. And that training should show them how to do that job properly. Whether that is stacking something from one side of a dock to another, whether that is driving a crane, yes, you have to tailor it to ensure that you cover everything, but the training is always going to be they get in a vehicle and they have to know how to use it, operate it safely. If you think about driving a car, learning to drive a car, you still have a driving instructor, and that driving instructor takes you through things to get you through a test. And you don't know whether you're going to parallel park or reverse park or until you get to the test, because you don't do them all, you only do some of them. Um, so it's making sure that training is suitable, covers everything, and that you can tick that box at the end.
Thank you. So I suppose that pretty much answers this question as well. But how can managers create psychologically safe teams where workers feel comfortable speaking up above stress,
I think that's a magic thing. It's
right?
it's one of those things that we all want to achieve. Everybody hopes that their workplace is somewhere people will feel they can come and talk to them. They've got these open door policies, and an open door can mean all sorts of different things. What it has to mean for the magic to happen is it has to mean that somebody can come and talk to their manager or somebody higher up, explain a problem, they're supported, and it's worked through together. Just cultures and everything else, it some companies are further in that journey and really do have that. Some companies are starting on that journey and will have teething problems along the way. It's about wanting that and pushing for that to get to that. But change and culture don't, it's not overnight. It's a drawn out process. So we all want the same goal. It's just where they are on that, journey to get it. And just trying and keep going till you get to where you want to be on your journey.
Yeah, I think time, because it takes time, rather than looking at it as something that, it's something massive we need to achieve overnight, taking those small steps, those applicable steps, making it a more approachable, inclusive safety culture is ideally what you're going through. So people feel comfortable enough to talk about stress and it's not seen as a sort of alien term. All right, that was all of the questions I had. Thank you so much for your time, Nicola.
You stop the recording, yeah.
Yeah.